What's going on, everybody? This is MDENT313, and I'm back at you with another one. Man, I just saw an article on ESPN that threw me for a loop, and it really got me to thinking, right? And I need y'all opinion. I need y'all to get in the comment section and give me y'all opinion, right? Every year, they do the top 100 players, and then they do most overrated player, best player, underrated player, things of that sort, to where the players and unanimous, players get to be unanimous, not unanimous, anonymous, and NFC coaches and AFC coaches and scouts and all that thing, all those people they get to weigh in on these topics, right? So they're on the topic of quarterbacks, and it was 5 quarterbacks that was considered overrated. Now, I don't want to talk about Deshaun Watson because he was at the bottom. Deshaun Watson, and it was somebody else. I want to talk about the 3 who got the most votes for being overrated. Took me by surprise. The number 3 overrated guy was Tua Tagovailoa. He had 10 votes for the most overrated quarterback. Oh, sorry, before I do that. The 5th guy was Trevor Lawrence. The 4th guy was Deshaun Watson. The 3rd guy was Tua Tagovailoa with 10 votes. Coming in at 2nd, who also got 10 votes, was Jalen Hurts. But you will not believe who's number 1. Number 1 was Josh Allen. Right? And it's crazy because when you sit back and really think about it, you can make a case that maybe Josh Allen is overrated. Maybe Jalen Hurts is overrated. And does that mean that they're not good players or very good players? No, it doesn't mean that. But what that signals to me is, when you're talking about quarterbacks specifically, it's very few quarterbacks who can win games and championships without elite level playmakers, right? When you talk about somebody like a Tom Brady, if you will, or Patrick Mahomes, even though my all-time favorite quarterback before I do this is Peyton Manning, is going to always be Peyton Manning, right? And I will even admit that Peyton Manning had elite level receivers when he was with the Indianapolis Colts and when he was with the Denver Broncos. So he had playmakers all around him. Even when he was with the Colts, he had an elite level running back. But when you look at Josh Allen's career, right? Let's look at Josh Allen before he had Stephon Diggs. And I also want to give credit to CJ Goodfellow Sports TV, because CJ Goodfellow, he has talked about this explicitly, right? He's talked about this a lot, and I never really paid it too much attention until now, because other players are weighing in and they saying, listen, before Josh Allen got Stephon Diggs, he was average to below average, right? And I'll be honest, I kind of chalked it up to, he's younger, he's inexperienced and things of that sort, right? So now Josh Allen, he lost not only his top 2 wide receivers, but the Buffalo Bills lost a lot on defense as well. So Josh Allen, even though he's already been shouldering a lot of the load, he's really going to have to prove that he's an elite level quarterback by doing this with a lot less talent, a la Patrick Mahomes did last year. Because Patrick Mahomes, I'll be honest, I'll speak for myself. I thought Patrick Mahomes was a good quarterback, but I personally thought he was a product of Tyreek Hill. Then they had that good running back who got caught up in that scandal with that domestic violence with that young lady who ended up getting shipped off to Cleveland. And he was suspended first, then he got shipped off to Cleveland. But I thought Patrick Mahomes was a product of Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. But once Tyreek Hill left, Patrick Mahomes wasn't getting a lot of balls down the field, and his passing yards and his passing percentage, completion percentage kind of dipped. He was still extremely effective and he was still extremely accurate, even with Travis Kelce being on the downside of his career, because if you look at Travis Kelce, yes, once Tyreek Hill left, Travis Kelce has been, pretty productive, with the exception of last season. Last season, Travis Kelce, minus the playoffs, looked like a shell of itself. And you can make a case that outside of the Panthers, the Carolina Panthers, outside of the New England Patriots, the Kansas City Chiefs had one of the worst receiving corps in the game, right? So, because Patrick Mahomes was able to win a Super Bowl with a receiving corps like that, it's really going to question who's elite and who's not. You got to put Lamar Jackson in the elite category, because Lamar Jackson has routinely haven't had top playmakers since he's been in the league. His top playmaker has been his tight end and Mark Andrews, but Mark Andrews is routinely hurt. So let's move on to the second guy. So this is a make or break year to see who Josh Allen really is. Let's go to the second player. You got Jalen Hurts, right? Now the jury is out on Jalen Hurts, because he didn't really have what's her name his first season. He didn't have Devontae Smith, and Devontae Smith might have been a rookie, and then they ended up trading for A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's an elite receiver. Devontae Smith has proven to be a phenomenal receiver, but check this out. They've added Saquon Barkley to the running game, as well as they added Jahan Dotson, who's at least bare minimum a solid number 2 wide receiver, and depending on the right team, he could be a number 1 wide receiver. And usually when team, even though you're supposed to surround your quarterback with playmakers, usually when a team is overspending on playmakers like this, as opposed to trying to draft them and save money and then invest in the weaker area of the team, which would, in Philadelphia's case, which would be the back end of their defense, because they got the back end of the defense, solidified in the draft, but that remains to be seen. But usually when you put a bunch of playmakers around the quarterback, you're not quite sold on his ability to get it done with average players, where you feel like you have to keep elite level talent around them, right? In the day and age where these players are getting paid astronomical amounts of money, especially at the skilled talent positions, like, it's kind of hard to keep a good team when you're shelling out the bulk of your money on quarterbacks, receivers. Running backs don't get paid like they used to. Linebackers never really got paid, and tight ends never really got paid like that. So you have to strategically draft and sign veterans and draft good, solid players, but you need your quarterback who's going to get the bulk of your money. He has to play at a level to where your team don't necessarily need elite level skill position players, or you're never going to be able to compete, right? Now, when it comes to Jalen Hurts, since he's been in Philadelphia, he's had a stacked team, and he's going to continue to have a stacked team until, guys start to leave. So the jury's still going to be out on him. But Josh Allen, he's in a situation to where he has to prove it this year, because he has nobody. Unless the draft, they drafted Keon Coleman, and then those tight ends they got, and Dalton Kincaid and Knox, they pick up a lot of slack and prove that they're better than what they are. Man, it's going to be interesting over there in Buffalo. And then with the defense collapsing in Philadelphia, it's going to be interesting there, because of those rookie cornerbacks that they picked up, if they don't pan out once again, everything is going to be on the offense to produce, right? And without their best offensive lineman, he retired, and that's Jason Kelce. A lot of everything is going to be on Jalen Hurts this season, but he still have a lot more playmakers to work with. Now let's move on to Tua Tagovailoa. This one, I don't care what's going on. He's average to me. He's always been average. He will always be average, in addition to him being injury prone. But let's pretend that he don't have any of these injuries, right? He's a product of phenomenal coaching and play calling. He don't have the strongest arm. It's been too many times where I've seen Tyreek Hill wide open when I say wide open, I mean he got the DBs beat at least by 5 to 6 yards. Where if you throw it and he just extend his arms, it's a touchdown all day long. And it's been so many times last year and the year before that, even when Tyreek Hill been having these killer seasons, there's been too many times where I seen Tyreek Hill running wide open and the ball is underthrown, where Tyreek Hill got to drastically slow down to get the ball to where the defenders can catch up to him, because Tua's arm is so weak. It's not weak in terms of regular people, but in NFL quarterbacks, his arm is so weak that those should have been touchdowns. He underthrows him so much. And then for whatever reason, when Miami play in cold weather, I mean, his arm is pretty much non-existent. If he's not hitting you with screens or quick, crossing routes, he can't get you on a deep post. He can't get you on the shallow cross. He can't get you just down the seam because his arm is trash. He's not the best at improvising and making plays with his legs, a la prime Russell Wilson, a la Lamar Jackson, a la Josh Allen, a la Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? So he's a product of phenomenal coaching. Like a player like Tua Tagovailoa, you got to put him in systems with Mike McDaniels, and you got to put him in systems like with Kyle Shanahan, or quite possibly with Andy Reid, who can maximize, who can kind of hide your deficiencies. The problem is when you get into the playoffs and teams can really study you, and it's a lot of film out on you, and you're playing in this cold weather, it's hard to hide those deficiencies without an elite level run game. So in those situations, your quarterback have to win you the game, and too many times Tua has shown he can't win that game. Those running backs you have to have an elite level running game for Tua to get it done, even with elite level wide receivers. Like Arcane, if I'm saying his name right, and Mostert, and I forgot that guy they drafted. That guy they drafted looked good in the preseason. I mean, their running game is literally going to have to be elite level this season for Miami to win at least one playoff game, because Tua cannot get it done. I will agree, I think Trevor Lawrence is overrated. I think he's a solid quarterback, but I think he's drastically overrated. I know for a fact Deshaun Watson is overrated. I don't know why he did so well in Houston, but he's been absolute trash in Cleveland because he hasn't had a bad wide receiving corps. Tua Tagovailoa, I'll be honest, I would rather have Deshaun Watson over Tua Tagovailoa. So for Watson to be, I agree that Watson should be beneath Tua Tagovailoa. But I don't think that Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts are worse quarterbacks than Tua. There's no way that they're worse than Tua, Deshaun, and Trevor Lawrence. But the good thing is this season we gonna get to see what Josh Allen can do, because he don't have anybody, and it's gonna be a minute. I could see if AJ Brown get traded, it's gonna be a lot that Jalen Hurts have to prove. And then when it comes to Tua, listen, with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, them speed demons you got, and those running backs you got, if you cannot get it done this year, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm drafting a quarterback, and I'm getting to it. They can't even draft him because they just paid him all that money. Man, listen, if Tua don't get it done this season, Miami gonna be in big trouble because they drastically overpaid Tua. That's in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe.